Hello and welcome to Wozzad. In this short video, we're going to cover the fundamental aspects of Wozzad. We will start with a scenario where a employee or student who is employed by a sponsor would apply for a course at Chiswick University. We will go through the 5 individual steps of Wozzad. So we start by the prospectus search, where the student can find the course that he or she would like to apply for. We would then go through to the application stage and filling out the application form. The form is then submitted to the sponsor or employer for approval. Then the application is forwarded to the university for acceptance. And finally, joining instructions is sent to the student. The first part of the process is to navigate to the prospectus. And here you can see that Chiswick University is using Wozzad for 3 different schools. As this example is based on a health course, I'm going to click on the School of Health and Social Care. There's 2 ways that you can search the prospectus. You can search via using a keyword search, or you can do the search through the different categories the courses are placed in. So if I just do a search here, it will return all the results within all these different categories. So for this example, I'm going to use the keyword search. I know what course I want, so I'm going to type in the keyword that I'm looking for. It's called emergency. So I'm looking to do a course on evidence-based emergency care. I'll click on more details and apply. This would then take me to a description page, which will tell me all the details about that course. It will tell me when the next available date is and what the status of that intake is. It will let me know any other information I need to know, such as the campus, or if it's online, or if it's a blended learning course. I can read the description, I can read the prerequisites, I know what the assessment criteria are, I can apply now, and I can look at the pricing. So I know this is the course I want to do, so I'll click on apply. I'm then presented with this screen where I can select which intake date that I want, and also notice that also displayed is the actual attendance dates that I need to be at the university for. So I'm going to click on this one for 2nd of April, and I know I need to be in on the 2nd, 9th, 16th, and so forth. So then I'll click next, which will then take me to my shopping basket. So here I can either proceed to the application, or I can search another and add to my shopping basket. So this allows one application form to be filled where the student can apply for one or many modules. So from here, I'm going to proceed to application. So the next question that I'm required to answer is about the funding. So as discussed earlier, my organization is funding this course module, and I currently work for Royal Acton. If the particular organization isn't in the drop-down list here, or you type in and it can't be found, you click on here and you have the ability to add your own sponsor list, which would then be forwarded to the university. So at this stage, I'll click next, which would then forward me to my login screen. So it's asking me for an email address. If I enter an email address that the system recognizes, it will access my account and pre-populate the application form with my previous entry. If it's a brand new one, such as this one that I'm going to do, is going to be, it's called sarahsmith.com. If I click next, because the system doesn't recognize this email address, so I need to set up a account. So I'm just going to go ahead and set up a username and password. And click OK. Then you'll ask me for my mobile phone number so that I can receive any updates via SMS text. So I'm just going to put in a random number that I can think of. And there's a checkbox here which is asking the student whether they want to receive any updates via SMS. Once I click next, this will then go to the application form which I'm required to fill in, and that'll be stage 2. Click next. This is now stage 2 of the application process, where the applicant needs to complete the application form. Wozzad uses smart forms, which means the form that the application fills out depends on the type of course and also the module type as well. So for example, if a module requires more additional information, an additional section would appear in this form. You'll notice that the form is traffic light coded, green meaning that that section is completed successfully, red means there's some problems, and grey means you haven't completed this section as yet. So I'm going to go ahead and fill out this form. I've already done the contacts form. Save and continue. There goes green. I've already got my address filled out. Save and continue. They'll then go green. This one is red because I've not entered a employment. I can either add a new work experience, or I can select a work experience from a previous application I've entered. So I click add here, and it'll add that. It will say that I've worked in Sainsbury's before, and I can click save and continue. That goes green. Qualifications done. A personal statement. I'm just going to keep this quick and just put capitals. Keep it short. Any professional affiliation, so I can either select from the list here, which I've already entered a NMC one, or if I don't do that, I can just click and add a new one. So by default is NMC, but I can select from this list here. I'm not awaiting my number. I'm just going to type in any PIN number I can think of, so just that. And this expires in 2019, 6, for example. Save and continue. That then goes green. This is the eligibility part. So I'll just keep this application quick. I'll click yes, I am a UK or a British EU passport holder. Then continue. Equal opportunities. Obviously, this whole section is completely optional, and the information we collect here would never ever be used during the application process. So I'm just going to put those details are fine and with no disability. And because we know that this course is funded by Royal Acton University Hospital NHS Trust, they've appended a question here to make their process faster. So this is where I would enter which directorate I belong to. So for this particular one, I'm going to type in midwifery. So this section is available to all sponsors. So if they have a question that they would like to append to an application form to speed up processing, just contact us and we'll be able to put that in for you. So now I'm going to click save and continue. Everything's green. I go to the declaration and confirmation page. This is where I view the terms and conditions for Chiswick University, and also for the sponsor as well. If you go to the bottom here, there is also a terms and conditions section for the trust or the sponsor. I have to tick here to confirm that I've accepted, and then I will submit my application. If for every reason when you're completing this application form you lose connection, an email would have been sent to you. So if you were to lose connection, or you've forgotten something, or you want to stop halfway, just refer to this email address, email that you would have received. Click on that link and you should be able to continue your application. So close that down. So as soon as I submit my application, this will then go to the sponsor for approval. I can either make a new application here, or I can click and visit my student portal. If I click on that, it will show you that right now my application is currently under review by Royal Acton University Hospital. I click on the plus button here to show me what do I need to do. So I need to upload any supporting document here, and from here I can view my application and I can see the current status of my application, including the last status change. This is now stage 3 of the application process, where the applicant has now submitted the application to the sponsor or trust for approval. So upon logging into the trust portal, you'll be presented with this first screen, which shows the ongoing applicants. So straight away you can see here that Sarah Smith's application is here. The education provider is University of Chiswick, and the application number is 53358. If you click on this button here, you'll be able to view the application form, where you can actually view the data that Sarah Smith has entered. You can also see here that she has put in midwifery as the directorate. And because Royal Acton is set up with 2 levels of authorization, the first level is done by the Midwifery Directorate. Um, for the purposes of this demonstration, this login person has rights to authorize the midwifery as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and click accept. So this is saying that it's been accepted by the midwifery department. Now it comes to central CPD admissions. Obviously, the number of authorization levels would depend on organization to organization. So at this stage here, I can perhaps add a note. So I can put here funded by CPD contract, for example. I don't want to inform the student, but I want to inform the HCI. That's what I want to do. So click proceed, and you see a paperclip being appended to the application form here, which you can see here, funded by CPD contract. So at this stage now, the student knows that the application is still with the trust. So if I go to the student portal, it says here it's still under review by Royal Acton University Hospital. This means that if the student has any inquiries, they'll most likely be contacting the sponsor or employer first. So everything is in place now. So me as the education lead for this sponsor agrees to fund Sarah Smith on this particular course starting on this particular date. So you've noticed here that we've only got one module here. If you have a shopping basket or they've selected 2, you can see there's 2 items here, but the principles are exactly the same. So at this stage, I can either accept or reject. So I'm going to click accept. It's going to be funded from the NHS Trust CPD. I will just add a particular note here, and this is the note for the university or education provider. So I can put a note in. It says, please take from CPD contract. For example, you can put any note you wish, or you can even leave it blank. Click proceed. So now the application now has been forwarded to the university. The ongoing applicants for Sarah Smith now has disappeared from this list. If I go back to the student portal, if I refresh this particular screen, it will say application in progress at Chiswick, University of Chiswick. So this tells us the student now that the application has been forwarded. They would receive an email, and the student would also receive a SMS text informing them. This is now stage 4 of the application process, where the applicant has now submitted an application, the employer or sponsor has approved the funding, and now the application is with the university or education provider. So following on from the application from Sarah Smith, this is now the view from the university. I can click on this number here to view the application form. So this is the application that it's been forwarded from the employer or sponsor. I can view what notes they've entered. So we know that it's funded by CPD contract, and this was the note that was entered by the trust upon submission. So the first stage for the university, obviously this depends on which university you're applying for, but the first stage is to assign a student ID. So at this stage, I'm just going to enter any number that I can just randomly 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, that number, for example, save student ID. What this does then is to update the student record with that student ID. So if I go back to my student portal here, so this is Sarah's page. If I go to my institutions, go to Chiswick University, my student ID has now been updated. So which means that any application that I do for Chiswick University, this student ID would automatically be appended. This just makes it a lot easier for the university to track this person within their student records system. So at this stage, so we've done the first stage of the workflow within the university. So the university now has to perform their checks. So they probably, I mean, this is just an example here. So they're going to check passport, residency, and then validate their qualifications. So I'm just going to go ahead and start these tasks. And then what I can do, I can mark these as complete. So only when all these tasks are complete can you actually make an unconditional or conditional offer. So at this point, I'm just going to say make unconditional offer. So this would then allow the application to be forwarded to the next stage, which is either make an offer or reject the application. You can also refer to a person if the applicant needs to be referred to a head of department for if there's any questions regarding the application. So at this stage, we're just going to click on make offer. So this is the email template that will be sent to Sarah Smith. So you can add some more text here if you need to, but this is the email that will be sent. If I click proceed, so we have now approved Sarah's application. Sarah's profile would be updated. So if I go to here, you probably notice there's an email just come through here. So if I go to my applications, you'll see that the status for the application has been updated here, and you can see that it was updated on this particular date, and we can see from here that the application has been accepted and the place has been confirmed. This is now stage 5 of the application process, where the university or education provider has confirmed the place for the student. This email would be received by Sarah Smith, and if they click on this link, it'll be directed to this page where they'll be able to log into their system to view their joining instructions. So click login here. Straight away you can see that the application has been accepted and place confirmed. Click on the plus button, click on view joining instructions, and this tells them that with this student ID they need to be in this room, this address, at this date, at this time. It'll also inform them which attendance dates they need to be on site, and for travel arrangements, which is any notes that the university wish to pass on. If they want to download the joining instructions, then click on that link, which then generates a PDF, and that information is then presented in a form of a letter, which you can see here. So that concludes the whole Wozzad application process regarding the applicants, the employer, and the education provider. All the workflow steps that you've seen can be customized, including the steps for education provider and for employer and sponsor. As you would expect, this system works on both a smart device, such as a mobile handheld, such as tablet or phone, and it works on all supported web browsers. Thank you for your time, and if you do have any questions, do contact us. Thank you.